Welcome to another episode of Double Cross Anime. This is episode 42 and it's super hot here in Australia. It's like 40 centigrade degree here compared to the rest of the world where they just freezing cold right now.
Well, there's half of the world is experiencing heat, the type of heat that you are. It's not like
No,
Australia is alone in that.
it's just Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and like some countries in the South America.
You don't think it's really hot, like closer to the equator?
So that just the amount of that many countries. So the rest of the world is just like the usual winter seasons.
I see. Looks like I have to go back to science class.
That's geography, but it's alright.
Luckily, this is an anime podcast, and
It's connect people around the world.
sure.
So I'm Mario, and with me is Whooper.
That's my name.
That's not Leary, your name.
Sure.
Uh, so for this postcard this week, we're gonna do the episode 2 of everything. That's including Dororo, Kaguya-sama, uh, the Promised Neverland, and Mob Psycho 100, and volume 7 of the Flower of Evils.
Right.
So, Whooper, what show do you want to do first?
Not Kaguya-sama, because that's my favorite, so we need to save that for later.
All right.
One of the others.
All right. Your pick between Dororo and Promised Neverland.
I don't know. Dororo, I guess.
All right. All right. Let's do with Dororo.
Sure.
Um,
It was okay.
it was a big disappointment for me.
Oh, how
Dororo.
so?
It just obvious. That's the word that I'm looking for. It just like we see how these the main guy, he had Kimashu.
Hyakimaru.
Uh, all right, he had Kimaru. How we know about his condition for the episode 1, and the show just I think the show just want to bring the point forward again, so that like in the middle of this episode 2 we have like the voiceover that basically explain everything all over again.
That wasn't in the middle of the episode. That was around the 5 minute mark, a little bit after the 5 minute mark.
All right, yep. That was about like he couldn't see anything, he couldn't hear anything, but he see like the color of the people. That just basically you can show that. You don't need to like uh do that much of exposition to us.
Right.
And
I suppose that a narrator wasn't strictly necessary. If I had to guess, they were probably mirroring what happened in the manga, like with those little square text boxes that
mm,
just deliver
mm,
information. They probably
yep,
used a
yep.
narrator to say exactly what Tezuka said, 50 some years ago.
and and even worse that like it just that the chemistry between Dodoro and that guy, it just there's just no communication at all
What do you mean
because
that guy?
he
Hyakimaru?
whatever
Oh,
his
okay.
name, yeah, Heskimaru. He have like, because they have like no way of like communication to each other.
Well, that's
So
that's not
that
true anymore now that the priest has joined them.
that that's my point. So that in order for the show want us to know what they're up to, and for them to to really communicate to each other, they bring another character who basically uh plied, but like he can understand both of each side, so that he can do the explanation for us. It works. It's just too obvious for me.
Hmm. I see. I actually wrote down that I was kind of impressed that the show waited to introduce the narrator rather than sticking him right at the beginning of the episode, because you're allowed to feel Dororo's frustration with Hyakimaru's inability to communicate. Like he keeps asking stuff like, "Won't you
Yep.
tell me your name?" and "Can't you see?" and like
That's right.
walking in front of him and trying to make his body into an obstacle, and seeing whether that would have any effect or not. We get a little bit of that, after the OP is finished being like
Hmm.
ultra modern. uh,
Yep.
we do get a sense of how frustrating that would be for Dororo before the narrator comes in and explains the thing about seeing color and like souls, and all that good stuff. So I was okay with the narrator. Plus, it's not like he was involved in every single scene.
No, it's not.
Just the ones where there is no bridge at all between the two main characters, and something needs to be done for us as the audience, for us to feel like there's a reason for them to be together.
And for me, the obvious is in the story of this episode as well. So the moment that Hiak Kimadu, he saw Bandai, the devils.
Hmm.
He tried to attack her,
Right.
and that plays up like the big question to Dodoro, because Dodoro couldn't see it, so he think that like his companion was crazy. But we know for sure that like there's something wrong, that this guy was right. So that it just seems so obvious for me that it it just like a story in order for Dodoro see how different and ultimately how awesome Hyakimadu is.
Um. Okay.
For
I
me, I feel that anyway.
Obvious. I don't know if how obvious I felt this show was.
Mm,
Certainly, I had a problem with the whole Lady Bandai
mm,
um, episode, and that's, to me, it felt truncated. It felt like really squished, and as though it wasn't allowed to unfold at a normal pace. Like if you think about the scene where they're imprisoned because
mm-hmm,
Shakimaru tries to attack her, recognizing immediately that she's some sort of demon or devil, what have
mm,
you. They get put into the storage shed, um, but then immediately they meet the priest, and the priest, he talks for a little while and explains what Hyakimaru's deal is and how they can see color, et cetera, et cetera. And then
mm-hmm,
as soon as he's done with his little spiel, something comes up from the bottom of the well,
mm-hmm.
or whatever it is, that little water. I wasn't quite sure if it was a well. That's what I'm going to call it. So then
Oh,
Hyakimaru jumps down after it, and then the priest is like, "Let's go, Dododo," and then they just go down. You see them walking under there for like 5 seconds, and then they come back up to the
yep,
surface.
yep.
That happened way way too quickly
That's
for
right.
my liking,
That
anyway. But I don't like the show being obvious. I think of something. Um, I don't know. That's just not the term I would use. When I think of anime that's obvious, I tend to think of like
all right. It knows what to say.
harem comedies or something like that.
Uh oh, are you talking about the the show with the queen
Gotobu
with
no
the
Hanayome.
five sisters?
I haven't seen that, but I can only imagine that show is like really. It's like the author's intent, what you're supposed to get out of it, is
Well, that
way too clear. That's when I tend to have a problem and think of things as being like too obvious.
well that's what that exactly what I see in Dororo's second episode. Then I just way that I just feel that the way the author want us to feel is rather clear to me, too clear for me.
Okay. I don't
So,
think of Hyakimaru as being like so awesome. I don't think that at all. I
mm,
think he's pitiful, or
yeah,
rather he's pitiable, because
yep.
he's a shell of a man.
Hmm.
Um, so it's Dororo as a child, and perhaps from the perspective of a child, somebody with swords for arms is like super badass, but I don't think that's what we're supposed to get.
Hmm. Hmm. Do you think that this priest will become like a companion as well. So he will join this team.
That's what I'm thinking right now, and the reason for that is that he's able to read Hyakimaru's writing, or he's able to feel it rather. This is like proto
Right.
Braille. He can he can feel the the symbols, the characters that he draws, and that
Yep.
enables our two actual main characters to communicate with one another in some fashion. So I think
Mhm.
for that reason, he's like a convenient companion for the author to include.
Convenient companion.
Yeah, but he also has some sort of history with Hyakimaru because he was there when he was put into the river.
Right. Right.
I think they'll probably be together for a while.
Yep.
I don't know.
So that turned out, so Bandai turned out to be one of the monster that whenever he get he Madu slay, he will get one of his bodies packed back,
Yeah, we saw that with the
right?
skin last week, and then he got his nerve endings this week.
Yeah. Is that like some kind of convenient coincidences for you?
No, that was established in the very first episode. That's what his
No.
father sacrifices for
Yeah.
power.
Well, I do mean that this guy he actually met Bandai by chances. It by Dodoro who actually do that, and he doesn't know anything about that.
Yeah. So I mean, what should have happened? Should they have spent this episode wandering around, like wandering to a village, and then there are no
Mm,
monsters, and they just chill, and
yeah,
like
well,
maybe play some poker or something?
yeah, well, yeah. I suppose it's alright that like Dodoro bring bring him into the devils.
Yeah, they got to get the ball rolling on
Yeah,
this
that's right.
story.
Yep. Mm,
Although there are only 12 demons in this version of the tale,
yep.
so I guess we're down to 10 now,
We're down to 10 now. Right.
or maybe these are like lesser demons and they don't really count, or I don't know. I mean, for now, what's supposed to be carrying the show is just the whether you like the characters or not. Um,
And
I don't like
one
them
thing I
very much, but I think they're fine.
right. And one thing I like Dodoro the series to improve as well is I want to know more about these devils and monster, because the last two monster I really not that much um, personality put into them.
Well, that's because
The same,
they're not persons. They're not
yeah.
people.
Well, yeah.
They're like the embodiment of evil.
Yeah, that's right. But still, I want them to be more more having more impact to me, beside just being a normal evil, like your typical evil.
Right. Yeah, I can understand that, but I'm not sure that this is the show, the type of show that will go to those lengths though. I mean, this isn't like Mushishi, where Ginkgo travels to
Yeah.
a new um, a new town or a new village, whatever word
Mm.
you want to use for it, and recognizes that it kind of has its own ecosystem, like its own relationship with the Mushi, who have have taken a very specific role, or
Mm.
are in that environment for a particular reason. I think in Dororo it's going to be more like the party, which now includes the priest man. They travel to
Mm.
new feudal village. There is a monster there. They slay the monster and they move on to the next one.
Right. All right.
It's two core, so there's double. I mean, there's 12 demons and there's double that many episodes plus one. I think is the plan. So
Mm.
eventually it'll have to slow down or broaden its story somehow.
Yep. Well, we still need a backstory about his fathers, his mothers, and the son and his younger brother as well.
Who?
Uh, he had he had Kimadu.
Um, I mean, we know everything about his dad. His dad was like a low level.
Well, yeah. I just mean that they gonna need to develop them more. So
I would rather see more information about the doctor,
the doctor.
the mask guy with the prosthetic limbs who
Oh,
puts them on the bodies
right.
of the
Yeah, yeah,
gang.
yeah,
I would
yeah,
rather
yeah.
know more about him. I think he's more important.
I will think that here Kim Madu's products will come into the picture soon enough.
Okay. I didn't
All
think I
right,
don't have that sense at all, but
all
with
right.
23 more episodes to go, I'm sure there's time for that.
That's right. And anything else you have on the notes on do?
Um, just the big-headed dude.
The big heavy.
We didn't talk about the big-headed monster at all. You know,
Oh, right.
the
Yeah,
spirit,
yeah, yeah.
the ghost.
The first, apparently that's the first one who died. I think.
Yeah, Bandai's first victim.
That wasn't very clear for me either. That he bring a lot of money, and I don't know why he want to show the money to these people, right?
It's
That's what he wanted to do.
it's because he was killed by Bandai, and the people in the town let it happen
Yeah.
as a means of like getting his money. But he hid it before
Yep.
before his death. He hid it away, so that's why they wanted Yakimaru to kill him rather than Lady Bandai.
Oh,
There's
right.
a line of dialogue in there about I think from the priest after Yakimaru chases Bandai in her like reptilian form. After they chase each other away, the priest says she's not the one that they wanted him to kill. So they wanted him to kill the guy so that his treasure would be revealed.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to me that he wanted Hyakimaru or Dororo or the priest to take it, because those are the ones that he appears to and says Yaroka.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All
so
right.
There you have it. Dororo episode 2 explained. Free clicks.
Now I totally get it. Yay.
Sweet.
All right. I think we can move on to the next show.
Yeah.
Promise Neverland.
Okay.
All right. So you have been keeping up with the anime, but you haven't read onto the manga, right?
No.
How you feel the pacing of this second episode? Is that going all right? Is that too slow? Is that too
fine.
quick? Yep.
It's fine. They brought Ray in.
Yep.
And I can understand how that would take an entire episode, because this is like a life or death secret that they're keeping. So the decision to bring another person in on it, even though their plan is eventually to bring all the kids on it. I think they said something like there are 37 of them.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Eventually Emma and Norman's plan, and now Ray's plan, I guess, is to bring everybody in on it. But for them to tell that first person is a big step. Not just logistically, but also like emotionally, because it's can they trust him? Is it safe for them to even talk about it? You know.
Yep.
So
It makes sense for me that he gonna bring like the third most like intelligent person into like making the plan.
I thought he was
because
like the smartest.
He the smartest. Like the both three of them always have like the perfect score.
Right.
So like they are the three smartest children in this
in history.
In this farm.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think it makes sense for the two of them seeking Grace out, but he seemed to he seemed to believe the story very quickly.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
That I did think that was like somewhat strange and convenient for the author to have made him accept what they were saying so fast. But I guess that's fine. It is two people presenting him with this information as opposed to just one. If it's just one person, you're probably like, is this a joke, or did you dream this, or whatever. But if it's two people, actually, if it's two people, it might be more likely that it's a joke.
That's right. That's right. But I think he's the most like sensible guy. So he the
Yeah.
one
So
who
why would
really
someone who's that sensible believe something so far fetched?
maybe because he knows something wrong was happening. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he does seem to be of the three of them, he was the least trusting of Mother from the very beginning. In fact, in
Mm,
episode 1, when all the kids are talking about what they'll do when they get to the outside world,
mm.
he's the one who says, "Well, the first thing I'm going to need to do is find a way to survive."
Right.
So that's
Right.
his mindset. He seems to be like a rationalist, rather than an idealist. So,
He,
which is
he,
actually the most interesting thing about this episode is the inevitable conflict between him and Emma and Norman that will rise up at some point.
that's right. And he make a total fair point that like in order to survive, in order for someone to survive, so if anyone survives, if they have to abandon the others children, so
Right.
that just the three of them will have like a higher rate of success.
Yeah.
And I think that his reason make a total sense.
He what?
His reasoning
Oh yeah,
make
makes
to
sense. Yes, I agree.
make yeah.
Yeah.
For Emma though, she wanted to bring everyone, and it's Norman in the middle who actually have to like pick the side.
Right. I
And
wouldn't say he's in the middle because he's infatuated with Emma.
yeah, and and eventually that he picked Emma's side simply because he's in love with her.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's going to be another source of conflict, I assume. It's mostly between Norman and Ray, I
That's
guess.
right. That's
I
right.
mean the show foreshadowed it in the most obvious way possible with like, do you remember the scene where you remember how it's the three of them talking together and then suddenly without explanation or like a picture of Emma walking away on the screen, we don't get the sense that she leaves the scene, but somehow like magically we just like move to a different dimension or something where she's up against the wall, and she's out of the picture, and it's just the two of them talking, and then like the
Oh, right.
rock music comes on in the background with like the chorus of people like chanting over top of
Yep.
it, and they're talking about their plans for how they're going to escape. I just thought that was just totally ridiculous. Something like Death Note, which has way more visual aplomb to it,
Yep.
like a much grander style of direction. Like Araki's direction in Death Note makes even the flourishes of a pen look like the end of the world. But The Promised
Mhm.
Neverland doesn't have that. So that music in the background just made me like giggle.
All right.
It was so dumb.
And and we also feel the threat from Mama from these episodes.
Right, yeah, we
So
get the first look at her not smiling her ass off.
yeah, well, and we also see like her strategy, of like overwhelming the childrens. So first she used her watch, but it actually like her way to find the location of the children.
Uh-huh.
And secondly, she actually bring another mama on board.
Right, Sister Crone or Crone.
Yep, yeah, that's right.
I mean,
Sisters,
yeah,
mama sisters.
sister as though she's like a nun.
Yep.
Um, it's if I had to guess, I would say that Sister Crone. Are we gonna call her Sister Crone or Sister Crone?
She's a crone.
Okay. If I had to guess, I'd say that she's like actually, she's gonna be an ally to the kids. Because in the OP,
Mm.
she like there are five kids in front of her, and she like sweeps them up in a really, really big hug.
Mm.
And I mean, of course, and that's not a guarantee that she's a good person or that she's going to be on their side or aid their escape
Mm.
attempt or anything. But that's the feeling that I get.
All right, so that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yep, for you to
There's
see.
there's another new character too, Carol, the baby.
Oh, Carol.
Yeah,
Don't really
remember?
remember her.
at the end when Mama introduces Sister Crone, she also introduces Carol. She's holding a baby in
Oh,
her arms.
oh, really? All right.
Yeah, and it has Emma's hair color and Norman's eye color.
I didn't even pick that up.
I mean,
Carol.
there was a shot of the like way zoomed in on the baby's face. It was right near the end.
Huh.
And I kind of wonder whether, I mean, given its hair color and eye color being identical to two of the main characters in the show, I wonder whether like their DNA has created
Hmm.
it. Whether
That's interesting.
their like samples of their DNA have been taken to create this kid. I don't know.
That's something I didn't catch up.
I mean,
Didn't catch.
the show's already gone to such weird places.
Yeah,
With the aliens and the human farm and stuff, that genetic engineering isn't really that big a stretch.
that's right. Oh, I remember one more thing that it actually was Ray who sent Emma and Norman to the gate on the first episodes.
It was him who sent them there,
Yeah, remember when Emma saw the stuffed animal
right?
on the table, and it was Ray who told her that Mama, they are on the gate. You can go now to give the stuff to them.
Huh. Okay. I forgot that in the last week.
Yep, I think that was him who who advised them
That's
to
kind of weird. I don't
to
remember
run
that.
after Mamas. So yeah, that's something intriguing to think about.
What's intriguing about that is you think that like he's in on it? He's an alien
Uh,
or something?
mm, mm, I just think that he might know something more than he let himself to.
That's probable. He's a shady guy.
He's a shady guy.
We've gotten plenty of shots of him. In fact, one of which I think used recycled animation from last week, of him like peeking through a window or looking around a corner.
Hmm.
He seems to be spying quite a bit, gathering information.
Hmm.
And he believed Emma and Norman so quickly that he probably does know something.
Hmm. That's right. You have any other notes?
Yeah, this episode was really dull looking.
Is it?
Yeah,
I
because
thought it was
it was like
alright.
raining the whole time. The sky was overcast. So there was a bluish green filter over every single exterior shot.
Mm.
And then the house, like the backgrounds, whenever they're in the house,
Yep.
they just look totally digital.
Digital. Oh.
Yeah, like they it doesn't look as though, they're painted or drawn at
Mm.
all. It looks like they're kind of assembled in whatever program is used to the
Yeah.
composite backgrounds. So that's
I
I mean the every time there's a scene in the house, I just like I just kind of get tired. Like my eyes, I find my eyes drooping
mm.
because it looks so plain. Like every single room and every single hallway, it's the white with the gray wooden paneled floors and the brown columns. It all
Mm.
looks totally the same, and even the placements of like the little cracks in the walls, they seem so spaced out, like
I
a
think
computer was responsible for it.
I think it's supposed to be that like the place itself, the farm itself is washed out. It's more like an abandoned, more like it's just a relic of the old town.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
you could get that across to the audience. You could portray that without things looking so
S-
drab.
And yep, yep.
Like here, look at how do I send stuff? How do I send images?
I think just drag and drop.
Oh. Here, hold on. I prepared a couple images for you.
All right.
Look at this. Look at these.
Thankfully that you remember this time.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna complain about the backgrounds in Dororo looking kind of smudged. Um,
Yeah, I saw I didn't saw the first two, which is the EXE.
Oh, I don't know what those are.
Well, but I saw the other. So you sent me two screenshots, right?
Yeah.
Yep, that was really great.
What was really great?
The first one when they are in the hallway.
That was
That
really
was
great.
really proud and great. It's really like dual looking.
Yeah, but the
Uh,
not just the color, like the color of the exterior scenes did bother me in this episode, but the putting aside the color of this scene, like if you look at it full screen, it's nobody drew this.
hmm.
It looks like it doesn't look like the characters are in the hallway. It looks like they're on top of a photo of a hallway.
All right.
And like the little cabinet that kid is running past in the second one,
Yep. Yep.
it's not grabbing me.
Yep. I know what you mean. Well,
I don't generally like background art in any of the anime from this season is what I'm finding. It's very distracting to me.
you must watch Kemuri Kusha then. The background is awesome.
The background is black.
They actually moved to another
Island.
what island now, yeah.
Okay.
So maybe it would be better. It would be like Pride
I
and
kind of doubt it.
Sunshine and not dark.
Well, I mean, no
Uh,
matter whether it's bright or dark or, no matter what the island looks like, I know that the male character is going to think that it's Sugoi.
Oh my god.
He's going to be
Oh,
he's going to be amazed with it, man.
yeah, that's awesome. So you want to kill me now? Oh, I guess not. You can kill me now,
Go
but
for it.
yeah. But I oh my god, just stop. I just hate this guy.
He's the best.
All right. Any other notes that you have on the show?
No.
All right, let's move on to Mob Psycho 100.
Sure.
For me, it's a slightly bit let down from the first episode, but it's still really good.
Yeah, I didn't like it as much as the first. I like when I get to see Mob at school with all of his pals and all the different colorful characters.
Yep. Well, this episode we still have like a whole more of like colorful characters themselves.
Oh, we have like two colorful characters,
Yes.
not including Mob and Reagan and Ekubo.
Yep.
We have
But,
Shinra Banshomaru.
Yeah. So I just call him Shira.
Yeah.
So he's the medium. Does he have like the real power?
Yeah.
Because at one point he seemed to have like he seemed to use one of his power.
Yeah,
Oh.
he traps the dragger in his chain
That's
of prayer
right.
beads. He's
That's
a real
right. That's
psychic.
right. Yep. Yep.
And
yep.
he sees the that woman who talks to them about trying to get rid of all the urban
Yeah, well-
legends or myths in the city.
Yeah.
Trying to
Yep.
he like Mob can see that there's a spirit next to her. It's the spirit of a middle-aged man. We don't actually see the spirit.
Yeah.
But he believes right away that someone is there, and Mob points it out too.
Mm.
So he's a real psychic.
He's a fun guy. I like him. But yeah. So let's talk about like one's writing as well. It's because I remember the moment that Reagan mentioned Wrecker like second time. I know for a fact that the Wrecker will appear in this episode.
Who will appear?
Wrecker, the
Reagan?
the Wrecker, the monster.
Oh, the dragger.
Yep. So like at first when they talk about the urban legends, Reagan actually mentioned her twice.
Yeah.
So when I was like, oh my god, so she or he gonna be appear in these episodes, and yes, that's what we got, and I like it. I actually like the way that she appear, and then she just like bring havoc to all these characters.
What was the
In
deal with the chain of babies, like baby dolls that she was dragging behind her? Was that a reference to like a Japanese horror movie that I just
it's
haven't
my
seen?
it's might be I saw some of the Japanese horror movie. Let's see. It might be actually. I'm not really sure if she the real thing or if she just a creation of this manga.
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about whether the dragger herself is from another
Hmm.
franchise or horror film. I'm just talking about the baby dolls that she was dragging behind her specifically. I wonder if that was a reference to something,
I think
because
that
that seemed very specific.
yeah,
You know,
and that seem very like we can get the context of it. It's not even I think it's not even like Japanese horror, but like American ones use that as well from one of these horror film that I saw before. Don't
okay.
remember the name now.
Yeah, it felt like, a reference to something else, because even though her name is the dragger and she's dragging the dolls behind her,
Yep.
for her to be dragging that specifically seems, it just seems specific. So I felt like it came from somewhere.
Mm.
And there's a lot of interesting
Yep.
action shots where she and Shinra are like jumping through the trees and she's slicing everything up, and
Yep.
some of it was
And
pretty hard to follow, honestly. Like it was
well,
mostly keyframes,
yeah.
like moving quickly from pose to pose, and it was a
I
little tough to follow sometimes.
it does a bit, but I think the animation in this episode is still pretty good. It's
Yeah, yeah,
like it's exceptional.
yeah. I mean, obviously, it was the best during the Shinra and Red Raincoat fight
Right.
when
Right.
it's like a fighting game.
Yep.
That was awesome.
And I like for the fact that like last episodes they focus about Mob um inability to express himself. This week it's more about like Mob, uh like um his social in inadept, so that he just think and feel unlike other characters. Or by that I mean like even like Regan or Shira, like everyone they scare about the records, so that's why it bring the power to the records. But for Mob himself, he just doesn't know or care or even or scare about the record. That's why he triumphed. That's
Right.
why he can kill the records.
Yeah. The show was that concept that people give myths and legends and things power and form by believing
Mm-hmm.
in them. That I got pretty quickly, but then there was
Yep.
a lot of dialogue from Shinra, I think, who like very specifically explained that if you as an individual are afraid of one of these creatures or characters, that since your power comes from a place of fear,
Mm-hmm.
it won't have any effect on them. And like the how technical he got when he was explaining that, I was like,
Yep.
huh? Can we get back
No,
to the fight?
that
But
that actually
that's exactly why you're right. That's exactly why Mob won, is because he didn't have any awareness of this legend, because he is socially inept and people don't clue him in on things, and he doesn't know about all the latest, um,
yeah.
you know, scary horror stories and stuff. So
But that
hooray for him, I guess.
yeah, but that bring us into the next segment that about the running.
Yeah, I wonder if that was like an entire chapter and they just condensed it down into like 2 minutes.
I maybe I'm not really sure,
'Cause
but
it felt
maybe
like a post-it note on the end of this episode.
yeah, maybe.
And I mean, it looked nice, and it was pretty funny, so I don't mind. But
Yeah,
it was
but
it was
it
like
actually,
episode 2, part Z.
yeah, but it actually adds something, like it serves as a pun light, as a punt to Mob, because he doesn't care what, like what the real uh, like the real gross or the worse, but he actually scared of this grandma, because this grandma is like the real thing. She the real person. She she outrun him, and she make a scary face that, that's scar him for the rest of his life. That definitely for me.
The rest of his life.
Yeah, that's what, like, one of these narration this they told us about that.
I thought the
So
narrator just said that this was Mob's first traumatic experience
yeah, well,
with urban
yes,
legends.
well, that's good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that he doesn't obsess over this forever, because eventually the
No,
show
I
is
don't
going to
think so.
go.
No.
If it's like last season, eventually the show is going to go full action, and then
Yep.
he's going to have to worry about that and not not have the running granny in the back of his head.
Oh, and that's actually one thing that I just noticed now, that we don't see a morph progression of explosion
Right. That's
in this
usually
episode.
that's usually tied to what's going on with him at school.
Oh, right.
Don't you think?
Well, it's just more about his emotional um, progression. It's like it keep building up, so not necessarily when he's it's not necessarily exclusively when he's at school, but whenever, like, he feels stressed or he feel emotional um, invest.
Right. Yeah. I guess that's true. This, but I can understand why we didn't see that in this episode. First of all, because he wasn't afraid of what's her face,
The regulars.
the dragger. Yeah.
Yep.
But also because this episode kind of felt like the first episode of the first season, which
That's
was
right.
just a way of introducing us to Mob and Reagan, um, and the concept of like psychic powers and exorcism and all that stuff. It
from
it
from
didn't
a
it didn't tie in too much to his, you know,
current.
his like feelings of inadequacy and his efforts to make connections with people or form friendships. That's what I want to see, And
Yep.
we this was kind of like a side trip
All
from all
right,
that.
because from what I heard, though, I'm not really sure about this shows, but from what I heard, this episode is a part of the urban legend arc, which is about the records, about the green flame. What his name?
Green
The
Flame,
green,
Dimple,
the green
Ekubo.
dimple, dimple, dimple. Yeah, about dimple, about on this, and about something else as well.
This is
But
part of an entire arc that's like this.
yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So they split up the act. So some of them have happened like in the first season, and now this.
Oh, huh. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I'm not really sure if that shows is credible or
I mean,
not.
I just want to go back to school and see what the deal is with, the girl that he has a crush on, who knows that he's a psychic now, and this other girl, Emmy, whose
He
novel he put back together. And
well, she actually, maybe the crush that she actually know about that all the way. I
oh,
thought about
that's
that
right,
as
that's
well.
right, that's right. Somebody pointed this out to me earlier. She did know because there's a flashback in the first season where um, Mob shows her his powers. So
All
yeah,
right.
she already knew. Um,
Hmm.
but that's how the first episode ends, is her like looking on as Mob does this kindness for Emmy, and then she's like, "Oh, that was nice job,"
Yeah, that's right.
smooth, I think is what she says. Um, So I want to know about that, and like see him, how his relationship with his brother is going, and what's up with the
Mm,
bros and the body improvement club, and
that's right.
I just want to get
I
back to that. So I wasn't
hope.
really thrilled with this episode. It was fine.
Yep. Hopefully, like next few weeks, we're gonna get back to that. This one was still fun though. I
Yeah,
I,
it
I,
was all right. It was
I
okay.
still really enjoyed Shira, the new characters.
Yeah, he's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I like his big ass prayer bead necklace, which
yeah,
unfortunately got like you know lost in that lake
yep.
when the dragger breaks out of it. All the beads like sink down into the water. I can't remember if he was wearing it at the end when.
I don't think he's wearing it anymore.
Okay, well he's gonna have to get another one, and that thing looked expensive.
All right, let's get to the last show, which is your favorite,
Yeah, I mean it was this week.
Kaguya-sama. All
Yep,
right, all right. Tell me
it's
about
cute.
what you feel.
It's cute.
It's cute. It's cute. All right.
Yeah.
I all right. Tell me first. Tell me first what you think about this.
That it's cute and it's funny, and I enjoy watching it. And I particularly like how it's directed, the way that it like ping pongs between what's going on in the club room and the character's delusions. Like the way it moves back and forth between those two things is really expertly handled.
Yep.
Um, so I just think that this is. I haven't read the manga, but I feel like this is a really good adaptation.
All right. There's one thing I want to say about cute because yeah, this show is undeniably cute, but I really like the fact that both of the characters really hate it when they have the illusional about how the other person say that was cute.
Right.
That was like that was something that they would die if they hear the words from the other person's mouth.
Yeah.
So I really find that really the stake that was very much the stake that they don't want to get themselves in, and I find that really hilarious.
Yeah, like the to me the stakes are higher in this show than all three of the other shows, which have more, life and death situations in them.
Oh my god, that had nothing compared to Promise Neverland. The stake of Promise Neverland is like
No, but the
laugh
thing is, like
laugh on that.
When I watch Promise Neverland, I don't really care about what's going on. Like
All
if
right.
those kids get eaten, then good for the aliens. If they get some
Oh
of that
my god.
choice 12-year-old intelligent brain meat, then I'm happy for them, man.
All right.
But
All right.
I want both of the characters in Kaguya-sama to continue like warring with each other psychologically, because I don't want either of them to win or lose. I just want to see this continue to play out.
All right. For me though, I see like the first two are a bit repetitive in the formula. Like really like on the segment that we watch so far are pretty all like recycle of the, the same skeleton.
That's part of what made, especially the first one, that much
Yep.
funnier to me. Like, do you
Right.
remember the bit with the movie tickets in the first episode?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And it was actually Kaguya who faked the contest
Yep.
and sent the movie tickets to Chika, the pink-haired girl, so that she
Yep.
would bring it up in the council room. In
And that
fact,
was
the
what happened
exact
as
same.
well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's the same setup just reinforces how desperate Kaguya is
I
to push one of her schemes through and get the president to confess to her. That makes it funnier to me.
That's right. I actually like that bit as well. Uh, uh, what was happening in the first one about that was about the phone,
Yeah, the cell phone.
the cell phone and the contact numbers.
Yeah, but her phone can't use line, so it was all for nothing. As many of their their traps are.
Uh,
They just don't work out because they always overlook something.
Jesus Christ.
It's
But
it's
I
it's
yeah.
funny. Like all the people that she plants as salesmen on the street are
Yep, yep,
people
yep.
who work at her house or her estate. Um, like the gardener at her house is a cell phone salesman or is selling like the
Yep,
SIM card that you need for your phone. It's
yep, that's right. And I actually like the solution that this guy Miyuki come up with. So he put his his younger versions of himself as a as an avatar.
right,
It's
right,
really
right,
it actually pretty smart.
right. So that she'll be intrigued and she'll want to get
Yep.
his contact info so she can see that photo. That was actually
Yep.
my favorite part of the entire episode was when he comes up with that plan, like he hatches that scheme,
Yep.
uh, and then we get a shot of Kaguya looking conflicted because he's about to change it in 3 minutes. So
Yep. Yep. Yep.
she's debating should I ask him for the contact info or not, and then it cuts to a shot of her reflection in the tea that she's drinking, and there
Yep.
are
Yep. Yep.
ripples going across the surface of the tea. So like it's a perfect way to represent that her mind is wavering
Yep.
because
That's right.
the image is being broken up by the waves on the surface of the tea. When I realized that, I was like, oh my god, it's 10 out of 10.
Well, that yep. That first one was good. I actually enjoyed the last one the most.
Yeah, that one was great. How exasperated she was that the guy who was looking for advice was just as dumb as the president.
Yep, yep, yep. And and how's like off the mark that the president think he is
Yeah.
that he knows everything. Well, he actually just bluffed his way through, and he make himself sound convincing.
Yeah.
But but that was funny as well.
Yeah, it
But
was. I definitely agree that the first and the third were the better.
the second one was alright as well. The way that they actually changed their mind.
Right, yeah. It was okay. The reversal being like
Yep,
kind of the core of the humor of that scene.
yep.
Although
So
the show kind of bent over backward to make it happen, I felt.
mm, mm,
It was I mean, I still enjoyed it.
yep, yep, yep. I agree. So I part of me still feel that it's kind of repetitive, especially like that we have like three skit in every single episode.
What's wrong with
So
that?
that it tend to like repeating itself a lot. So like it have to be really smart to in order to tweak around some of its old convention.
I think so far it's proven to be pretty smart, but
We
we're not very
well
far in yet.
all right because of like what I said about the first and the second segments because I was actually expecting that Chica will chime in the climax in order to like put some twist over the two people
Yeah,
plans.
that's the point of her character.
So yes, that actually what happened as well.
Yeah.
So on though it's they are still very funny. I actually want to be more surprised.
I I mean,
So
I think the show is formatted the way it is so that
yeah,
the quote unquote surprise is just how silly and absurd the situations get every time. Not
so
so that they'll
yeah,
divert from the formula and all of a sudden, one character will get the upper hand over the other and then somebody's gonna
yeah,
the status quo can't be thrown out of balance or else there's going to
yep,
be an unfortunate amount of like romantic progress and then the story is going to lose its comedic edge.
yep. Well, so that's why I think that the last segment is really good because it's break on this formula that I just talked about.
Yeah, it is
It
different for sure.
Yeah, so I wanted a show, like doing more of that,
Well, we're going to
and
see more of
as
that actually.
yeah, and at the same time, those repeating that formula, but like keep something, tweak something around, so that we feel refreshing every time. Like actually like the first and the second segment when we was talking about how elaborate Kaguya's um, clan was, how desperate she was.
Hmm.
That was good as well. And on the second segment, how like how they change their mind. I enjoy those moments.
Right. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
much.
Me too. And if you like the third segment, it looks like we're going to get something similar in the future.
All
Because
right.
there was that little bit where it's I can't imagine it, I can't remember exactly where this moment was placed, but
Yep.
we got something about next week. There's going to be more advice, and
Oh, all
there
right.
was there was one of the three girls. You remember the setup was that the guy was asking for advice about a girl in his
Yeah, yeah,
class
yeah,
named
yeah.
Kashiwagi, and then
Yep.
Kashiwagi had three female friends,
Yep. Yep.
all of
Yep.
whom acted like they were not surprised that this guy was single.
Yep. Yep.
The
Yep.
the
Yep.
middle one with the brown hair and the little braid,
Yep.
she's the person who's going to be asking for advice in the next episode.
Huh.
It
Oh,
was like right before the credits, I think.
all right. All right. So I do think that she actually was the one who led the guide.
Yes, I agree.
So now she was in shock that this guy actually asked the other girl out.
Right, and that's exactly what she says. She says "gan," which was subtitled as shock.
Oh.
Yeah, because
So
she was obviously upset by what had happened because she was the one who liked this clueless bonehead.
All right.
But his plan to do the kabedon and hit the wall actually worked out with her friend.
Oh my god.
So I feel like there's actually potential for the cast of characters to be significantly deepened, or at the very least like broadened or made larger through these advice sort of segments.
all right.
Because we learn more about this guy and a girl named Kashiwagi and three of her friends, one of
And-
whom will get more focus in the next episode.
And actually, like they become more straightforward to their feeling as well. The two main characters.
Oh yeah, when they're not in a room together and they don't have to like one up each other or deceive each
Yeah,
other.
that's right. Actually, Miyuki was bad mouthing Kaguya before he realized that she was just outside.
Right. So he actually did deceive her, in a sort of, like he was
Yes.
he was speaking truthfully, I think, when he was praising her, in a way, but he had to do it in order to take back what he had said previously, or else she might not like him anymore, as he is sure that she does.
Yep. Actually, like that change of tone of him, I really like it.
Yeah, I think the voice acting is pretty darn good in this.
Yeah, the
Show.
comedy bits was really well done as well. I mean, like the comic timing was good.
Yeah,
And
that
the
comes down
voice
to
acting as well.
direction,
Yep.
which is probably my favorite part about this whole show.
Mm.
I just love the way that it moves itself in and out of the character's inner thoughts.
Yeah, yep. Agreed. All right.
Good stuff.
Anything else on your note?
No. I hardly wrote down anything about this show.
Kaguya-sama.
I was just content to watch it and smile at it.
All right. Remember, you have to plug that as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you will find something to talk about.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'll just take everything that we just said and condense it to bullet point form, then re-expand it into paragraphs.
It might be one of these cases, these shows where it's really enjoyable to watch, but it offers a little thing for us to talk about.
I don't think that's going to be too much of an
write
issue
about.
because of the way that it divides itself into 3 segments per episode. It's like 3
Mhm, mhm.
paragraphs,
Right.
Sometimes
Yep.
I might not like one of them very much, or I might not have much to say about one of them, but then maybe that paragraph will just be a little shorter than the others.
Okay, that makes sense. Oh, good.
Mm.
So let's get to the manga now. Volume 7 of The Fellow Evils. Whooper. How do you feel about this volume?
It's fine.
Surprise.
Am I
All right.
surprised?
I get straight to the point now. How do you feel about this time jump?
I mean, it's kind of expected. I feel.
Expected.
Yeah. Obviously, maybe Nakamura could have killed herself, and the manga could have gone on. That's a possibility. But Kasuga, he's the main character, so that's not going to happen. He's not going to die. So after after he survives, what is the show going to do? Is it going to continue to drag its feet in the present time, with him being talked to by like counselors, psychologists, cops, his parents, and we're just going to get even more of that than we've already had with the police showing up at his house and his parents being all upset? I don't really feel as though that's a legitimate way forward. And we've already seen one time skip, haven't we?
Yep, we have. Yep.
So another one is, I mean,
But
makes sense.
well, it's not like that many years in the future though.
Yeah, it's like 2 years, 3 years, and they're living in a new city now.
Right.
So he's away
Or
from the town that he thought was like so boring and stifling, but he's
to
he's still
another to another town that he thought was boring as well.
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously the problem is with him,
Yep.
not
Yep.
his environment.
All
But
right.
that's my main issue is like, what is his problem? You know,
Mm,
he's just like a mopey dude.
all right. For now, I would say that he just think that like he like he dies inside from the inside, so he have like no reason to live but just live.
But why does he feel that way in the first place?
It's because of I think he view the world as you said as we know like shitbug or the people
But
around him,
why? I
and
want to know.
he had the chance to to break out of it, but at the end of the day it's Nakamura who pushed him away.
Yeah.
So he just feel that he now stuck in that world, in that shitbug world, and he now have no motivation to escape out of it.
Yeah. Okay. But
All right,
but
just to tell you the truth that when the first time that I read the manga, this time skip actually just feel very abrupt to me. I was literally just say what, and I was I just I just feel too erupted. I just feel like like part of my body just die with the touchscape.
what?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just feel that way.
Insane reaction.
Well, I was expecting like something more from the present, from the like they keep continuing what they want to, but
The
what the
author wrote
event was
himself
about.
into a corner. There was nowhere else to go in the present. They
Yeah,
they tried to
well,
kill themselves. It didn't work. What are you going to do now? Are you going to move the story into like a psychiatric ward and somehow they both end up there together and they're like in
uh,
rooms on opposite ends of the building and Nakamura breaks out and they escape together
well,
again and
all right. Is that time skip actually like a quick way out, a quick escape from like you creating the drama so dense that you don't know how to resolve it, so just do the time skip.
it kind of feels that way, but it doesn't feel that unnatural to me either. I mean,
All right,
it's the end of an arc. His failed suicide is the end of an arc, and now we move into the next one,
all right.
which is about
I
him trying to live a more normal life, I guess.
all right because all right. Another way that I can put it is I just feel that it's anticlimax. The climax was just there, and they have like no resolution to that climax at all, and then we get into like the whole different act.
Right. Well, I mean, if he's feeling so despondent and so hopeless in this new arc, then it makes sense that it would be be brought to us so quickly. Like
Mm.
if let's say, for example, there was no time skip,
Yep.
and instead the author dedicated many chapters to the aftermath of the suicide attempt,
Mhm.
like I don't know, increasing the manga's length in total by like 33 or 40%,
Mhm.
and eventually we make our way to high school, then the impact of his like or rather his emotional state being like, oh, I feel empty, I really there's nothing here for me, even though I'm in a new place, I still feel totally unfulfilled and worthless. That emotion wouldn't be as strong if we spent tons and tons of time in the aftermath of the summer festival in the present.
All right.
Like us suddenly being pushed 3 years into the future makes it easier, I suppose, to connect his past with his new present, or his past with his future, because he feels the same in both.
Or yeah, you know, like, so part of me was really mad when the author did the time skip, but the other part of me was alright with that, because like you already like criticized before in the previous act, that we don't really know about the what Kasuga thinking, what is like what's going on in his mind.
I
So
know what he's
now,
thinking, and I know what's going on in his mind. I just really don't get the sense that he's a human being.
right?
What at his core, like at his deepest, the essence of who he is, and what has made him into who he is today.
Uh,
Why is he taking these steps?
all right. So put it that way, that like before he was really unrelatable. So now this act gonna be, like we see more of his side, and he feel more related to him as the main protagonist. So maybe this act gonna be, like a redemption to, like all these.
But are we gonna
Um,
learn about like what kind of neurosis he has, or what the deal is with his family life? Like his father,
yeah.
has passed something on to him, perhaps like psychologically, or are we ever gonna learn anything about that? Or is it
I don't
just
think
gonna
so.
be,
No.
oh, dude, he was totally normal, and then he was corrupted, and the world is just full of shit eaters.
And now that he fight another love of his life,
Right. Of
now that
course, they have to introduce a new hottie. Of
uh,
course, and of course, she has to be interested in books.
and of course he has to be, like a fight another passion of reading book. I actually find that's good. A bit not subtlety, but it's good. It's still good nonetheless. That, like he actually find the joy to read book again. And of course that she had to be like a closet book lover as well.
Yep. And
So
she
like
has to look like
everything,
Nakamura.
yeah, quite a bit. And of
She has
course,
the same hairstyle at least.
that she had to be tall. Actually, I think she's like a combination between Nakamura and Saiki. So
Huh,
she popular at
I haven't
school.
gotten. I mean, it's true that she's like the school idol, just like Psyche was.
Mm,
Or at the very least, all of his friend group are like lusting after her.
yep.
Um,
And of course that she had to have a boyfriend who happened to wait for her in front of her house when Kasuga is at home.
yeah, I
So
mean, there's constant cliffhangers
yeah.
at the end of every volume. Every 5 chapters, there's a big old cliffhanger. Although, I mean, honestly, I can say that him waiting outside of her house on his bicycle, or his motorcycle, whatever it was, I
Yep.
was like, yeah, I don't care. I don't
Well,
care
we
if the new girl who the author has introduced, because there has to be some beautiful woman who like loves books and thinks that it's amazing that he loves books too. I don't care if he gets together with this girl or not.
all right. Well,
It's
I
just
I
so
don't.
it's like the author is creating this fantasy world for himself.
Uh, Come on. After like all the things that Kasuga had been through uh in his teenager life, I think he deserves some of the, like the a bit of the fantasy now.
Uh,
Does
I
he?
I don't think, and actually I think that kind of runs counter to the manga's philosophy up to this point, which
All
was
right.
rather chaotic.
Yep.
I don't think that just because Kasuga has suffered in the past that he will get any sort of karmic, you know, bounty in the future. I don't think that he deserves anything as a result of what's happened in the past. What happened is what happened, and it was
Yep.
terrible and tragic. But the appearance of this new girl shouldn't function as some sort of like redemption or second chance, or I mean that's not the way life works, you
Mm,
know.
yeah. Well, actually, it's more about him. Um, it's more about him getting over, the event that happened in his life, right?
Why can't he do that without the help of some beautiful girl who just happens to be,
All
you know, like
right.
writing a story,
He he
or
has
has
to.
the what does she have, like the plot points outlined, I think she says.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think it's because he have to open himself first in order to looking back into the past. Like he for now he trying to not to think much about that anymore. Or he just hanging to the past and not really present in the present. So that's why now they have to untangle the first thing, that he have to be, more enjoying his life in the present in order to looking back to his past.
Yeah, but the way that that is accomplished, and the way that so many things are accomplished in this story, via Kasuga's relationship with some girl, is
Mm.
that's what smacks me in the face as being like the author's just, you know, he's writing these female characters so that his avatar can, you know, have conversations with them and be and get up to a whole bunch of dirty stuff with them. Like,
Huh. All right. I actually get some of that feeling as well, but I think for this story alone, it does have some kind of purpose. It has the reason why it's there.
yeah, I suppose. I mean, I don't know the whole story.
Mm.
I haven't, you know, seen the whole thing, or
Right.
the you know the but even so, I just like, uh, is there a reason for her character to exist? I mean, as of now, I feel like the reason is she's the love interest.
Yep. Yep. She act like one for sure.
I would like. I mean, I'm not out here trying to beat the drum for female representation or anything, but I would like for there to be a little bit more going on with her than she likes books, you know, and Kasuga likes books, and she thinks it's amazing that he likes books, and he thinks it's amazing that she's writing a book. And the like, do you remember at the beginning of chapter 37, he's got that new group of friends, and they kind of resemble the old group of friends, and that they're just a bunch of like, you know,
Right. Right.
uh, per
Loser
yeah,
shitbug.
yeah, they're just like a bunch of perverted cavemen. Uh, One of them says to him, "Oh, suddenly you're a super bookworm," because
Mm.
he's reading all of a sudden now,
Mm.
because she has enticed him to do so. I really like that struck me when his friend said that. Suddenly you're a super bookworm. That struck me like that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
He's reading all these books again because, I mean, because she has recommended some to him, and he to her.
Yeah.
And
But
his go ahead.
yeah, but it's more because of, like he find his passion of reading book now. It's not because of because her recommending the book to him.
Yeah, I that's not being communicated to me very effectively, I don't think. Like his passion for reading books.
Mm-hmm.
And like the scene particularly where I think it's in chapter 36 where he opens the book that she's given to him, like he opens to the first page or the
Yep.
inside cover or something, and you get the tendrils of the fleur de mal like creeping across the panel towards him. Like
Yep.
he's about to be enveloped in this world of darkness and sin once more because he's opening a book. I thought that was
Yep.
totally pretentious. Like how is him reading a book uh, visually equated with some of the terrible shit that he's been embroiled in before? It makes no sense. It's a book.
Yeah. Well, is that when he reading the book about Flower Evil, or is that like other ones?
The just the novel that she recommended to him.
Well, I think it's more like uh yeah. Well,
Like, are books supposed to be bringing out these dark impulses? Is that why his life is turned out so crazy? Is because like literature is like
Nah,
triggers something in him? Well, if that's not the case, then why this visual representation of like equating his joy of reading to, you know, like this sinister force that's gonna swallow him up?
all right. It's more about his relation to book. That's why that's what I think. Because before all this mess happened, he loved book, and then when he tangled into all these perverted things with Nakamura, that's when he destroyed his book, and now he come back to that again. So it's more about his relation to book. So
Yeah, but I don't think
that
books are so. What's the
evil?
point
No,
that
it's not evil.
yeah, that books are like evil or inherently dangerous because they communicate ideas that are uh fictional or
Uh,
like what?
all right. Yep.
I'm lost.
Yep. I understand what you mean. Uh,
I
unfortunately,
think
I
the author might have like a really elevated opinion of like book readers, such as I don't know himself. Like
yeah.
it's super deep to have read Flowers of Evil and these other works of literature and poetry. I don't know, man.
But actually, I like one of Kasuga comment about the book that he said like when he was in middle school, he read book like from what translation of my book, like a monk um going through his task. That's what he said.
Hmm. I think I may have gotten something similar in the fan translation that I was reading. Like he kind of slogged through Flowers of Evil, or he pushed himself through it, something along those lines.
Yeah. So
Um,
that actually remind me of how I watch anime as well, because that I think that's how I watch my anime. But well,
yeah, no, I totally know what you mean.
so but now he not reading book because of that. He reading book out of just like his enjoyment.
Okay, that I agree because he says to her, "I've never read a book like this. It was a real page turner. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't wait to find out what happened next." So that's nice that he is
Yeah.
getting a new feeling out of reading books. But the thing is, like just the act of reading is being connected to his romantic endeavors and the Flower of Evil like threatening to capture him once more. I don't real I mean
Yeah.
it's nice that he's reading again, you know, and for pleasure this time.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. But I just don't feel like a lot of thematic cohesion here.
Yeah. I understand what you mean, but maybe I was thinking it may be because now like the flower that flower of evils, that thing that we see is more about like his desire. So it's more about like uh what he missing. I'm not really sure. I'm just drawing. I'm just making up as I go now.
Well, his desire
Uh,
for what?
it's just like one of his missing part. So uh so that I just mean that this might be the way that he embracing his dark side by
Right.
reading book. It doesn't make sense by reading book again,
Yeah,
but
I feel as though that might be the author's intent. But I just don't see books, you know, like books as a
yeah.
concept or the average book, however you want to phrase it, as
Mm,
being particularly dangerous or destructive or
yep.
like a gateway to the
I
sort of stuff that he's been sucked into in the past. I don't
yeah.
have that elevated an opinion of like the written word.
I don't think that's his intention as well. But yeah. I can say more about that.
Yeah. Well, it's it's hard to get a handle on who Kasuga is exactly, other than like a really misfortunate dude.
Yeah,
But
and it
there
just
there was something interesting about his dad in chapter 36.
yeah.
Like he's drinking a lot and not taking care of himself. Like he doesn't have proper hygiene. He's not bathing every day or even every other day. He's apparently falling asleep in like the living room or the family room,
Right.
not going to bed with his wife.
I think it's more of like the outer criticize to the way of like these people like these the book loving people, because I'm not really sure how to say that, not to sound mean, but it's more like the way that his father trying to raise him up as like himself, the one who read book, the one who like to read pretentious book as well, difficult book, and that's how he turned out in the end. That
Right,
he
right.
all he do is just talk about book and don't do much of an action, and
Who,
don't
the
even
dad?
care about the dad, and don't even care about like the wife at fault.
Uh-huh. Um yeah. I know what you mean. The Kasuga even um made the same criticism of his dad
Yeah, I
right before the suicide attempt and all that stuff. He said to his dad,
mm,
why did you make me read this stuff? And
mm,
what were you thinking? Um but yeah, I don't know. That just is more fuel for the fire of like
yeah,
books are
yeah,
crazy. They'll mess you up, man.
and we just in the beginning of the new act now, so we need to see more, to see like
Gotta
his
see
his
more.
yeah, well, to see more, to see like how the story going, to see more of the outer intention
Is
of
the
this act.
is the boyfriend gonna be like some character from his previous school? Because I
I
remember somebody saying that her boyfriend she works with him at a part-time job, right?
Yep.
And her boyfriend goes to school, or her boyfriend, yeah, her boyfriend attends a different school. So I wonder if like it's one of his old friends.
I don't know.
Um,
I would spoil you. It's something we have to see in the next volume.
yeah, because he's like smirking. That's the very last panel. The boyfriend is smirking, like
Yeah.
he's the alpha,
Yeah, he's the
and
alpha, right?
yeah, and alphas must die. Only Kasuga is permitted to have all these beautiful women, on his arm.
I oh, Saiki Nakamura, and now this girl.
Right?
What's her name? Aya.
Tokiwa.
Aya. Tokiwa. Yep.
That's the only name that I've seen. I mean, maybe Aya is her first name or her last name, but I think the only name I saw in my translation was Tokiwa.
Yep.
And I mean, she has a very attractive design. I can't fault Kasuga for suddenly wanting to read all these books, because that gives him an excuse to like talk to her and hang out with her. Um,
Like
but
if I was him, I would do the same.
yeah,
I would enjoy that book the same way.
me too, dude. I'm not gonna lie
Oh,
about that.
oh, it's a pattern. I can't wait. I would say the same exact line.
Dude, I would actually love it if he hated that book. If he hated all the books that she's recommended to him, and
Yeah.
he's really just trying to get some. That was
Right.
like
Right.
his motive, but I don't think that he's that straightforward. And I think that his obsession with books is like taken very seriously in this series. So he probably is discovering a whole new world of literature that he's now totally captured by. And
Right.
they're just as books once drove him to madness, they will now redeem his soul,
Yeah. Right.
or,
Right.
or
Right.
something
And
like
we
that.
have like the image of that bud, flower bud, all over again,
Right? Yeah. The
with the
fleur de
eye
mal.
looking at him.
Yeah. And I mentioned the panel where he opens the book to the first page or the inside cover,
Right.
whichever, and the tendrils of the flower start creeping, you know,
Right.
creeping
Right.
in from the right. But then on the next page, there's like a full page, if I remember correctly, of
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
kind of like in the center, right where the eyelid is. He's like in the middle of it, like he's totally lost to it
Yep.
already. Once again,
Yep.
I just don't. Well, I've said enough about that already, I think.
Right. Well, hopefully, I don't really care that they can get together and read some books together and doing the stuff.
Uh, I mean, yeah, I'm not
All right.
super. I'm not.
What do you expect? What do you expect? On what will going on the
What's gonna
story?
happen next?
Yeah, what's gonna happen
Man,
next?
I don't know. He's gonna. The boyfriend is out there, so dude, I have no idea. I'm assuming that he's just gonna get closer and closer to this girl, by because they both love books and stuff, and he wants to read her book,
Mm,
or her plot summary, and she'll
right.
probably start writing it, and he'll
And
he'll be like, oh man, I really want to read it when it's finished, and then they'll grow closer over their shared love of books and stuff.
they make love and then they will live happily ever after.
I kind of doubt that. I mean, if there were a happy ending to this manga, I would feel extremely cheated,
All right.
because Kasuga is obviously like severely psychologically damaged. I mean, if there is a happy ending and he gets the girl, etc., etc., then the author is going to have to work really hard to make that happen without it
R-
feeling like, oh, the moral of the story is good things happen sometimes.
Right. Uh,
There's
bad
going to have to be
things
like a miraculous transformation.
bad things do happen, but good things conquer.
Right.
All
There's
right.
light at the end of the tunnel. Like if that's the moral, then I'm out. See you later.
I, I I really like the way that that because I read the manga before, so I can't tell that for myself now. But whenever I ask you like what do you think what happened next, you will be like for this manga alone you will be like I have no idea. Well you do have an idea of what's going on next, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's really like up in the air now.
Yeah,
How
I
how
guess.
yeah how the author gonna handles
I
all
I
all
assume
this.
that Nakamura will show up again at some point, or Psyche,
Hmm.
or both.
Well, that's actually a very good point.
I mean, they were such major characters. If they're completely left behind, then why not just start the story, um, post suicide attempt, and have that be gradually revealed to us over time, and make it all about his relationship with this girl? Why spend more than half the manga? Because it's 33 chapters out of like 57.
Yep.
On his past.
Mhm. All right. Let's see about that. But one thing that I can say is that's when they get into the high school now, the character design is much more attractive than the plain middle school design. That's what I feel anyway, personally.
Um, yeah, I guess so. I mean, the art feels feels a little more stable, I think. The
Stable. All
yeah,
right.
the characters are depicted with more consistency.
Mm.
Their facial features take up less of their heads,
Yep.
and that's a regular trend, in because a lot of the characters were kind of bug-eyed
Mhm.
in the past, but there was some level of inconsistency to the placement of their facial features, and I just feel as though it moves in terms of what's on the panels, like the characters having a conversation. It moves from one to the next, with more fluidity. I think that just comes from the art getting hammered out.
Mhm.
But it might also be a reflection of the fact that this point in Kasuga's life is supposed to be like healing and redemptive. Like everybody looks better now because his view of the world is going to slowly improve over time.
Mm.
and
That
it
might be
was
the reason as well.
and it was ugly before. I mean, honestly, I feel as though it's just because the mangaka probably got a better picture in his head of how the characters were supposed to look, and he improved at drawing them. That happens in
Yeah,
a lot of series. Like the kinks get worked out of the art. But I
that's
suppose
right.
you could make an argument that the characters looked uglier in the first half of the manga because it was uglier in tone.
Yeah, and there was middle school as well.
Right, which
So
is a
they
very ugly
supposed
part of life for a lot of people.
right supposed to be plain, so they are plain alright.
Yeah, except for Psyche, the goddess.
Well, see, at first it appear a bit too plain, right?
Um, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I just all I can really remember is Kasuga being like, "She's an angel." So
Yeah, see,
that's what my
that's right.
image of her is.
She's my muse.
Right, 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 right.
All right. So yep, that wrap up this week postcard for us,
Mm-hmm.
and next week gonna be like episode 3 of everything, and the next volume of the Flower People. So no real changes there.
There's no breaks on the Double Cross Anime podcast. We just keep
Right, rolling.
forging our way ahead. If there's new anime out there, we're gonna talk about it.
Right.
You better subscribe.
And watch more show as well.
Don't do that.
Boogie Pop Phantom.
There's 4
Gonna be
episodes of that out now, right?
Yeah, that's right. Gonna be a headache though. Try to keep up with all the plot lines.
I love headaches.
Uh, Wish, don't watch that. I actually haven't watched the second episode yet.
Okay, well, it's not as though you really need to, or anyone really needs to.
Or if you want some of the lively conversation of this season, go watch Tate no Yusa.
Yes, yes. If you are an epic gamer, such as the
Yeah.
main character of that series, then make sure to give that a view. You know, you might
Like
you might really like what
no,
you
no,
see.
you might relate to the main character.
You might feel the need to rise up
That's right.
after viewing.
So, all right, we will see you next week, guys.
Peace out.
All right, bye.